Also, if you're doing a superhero casting bingo card, this is not one of the ones that I would have anticipated anytime soon. And that is,
Yeah.
we have the main villain for the upcoming Blue Beetle movie starring Xolo Maridueña from Cobra Kai as Jaime Reyes. We have Basic Instinct Sharon Stone playing Victoria Cord. Now, for those astute listeners or viewers at home that know their DC Comics history, Sharon Stone has already been a villain in a DC Comics movie. Quotations around DC Comics, as she was the bad guy in the Catwoman movie that
Okay. I
very
was gonna say,
quickly became high on Josh and I's list of worst movies that we've ever watched. Like,
dude,
if you
that
make
was
a
terrible.
guide of how to make everything wrong in a movie, top of the list is Catwoman. Maybe above The Room, because The Room had no budget and it was made by amateurs. Catwoman was made by quote unquote professionals. That being said, I have two minds of this. One, I think Sharon Stone's a great actress, so I'm really excited to
Hmm.
see what she brings to the
Hmm.
table here. Two, them announcing the name kind of may hint for the first time ever about the plot. So, for those that don't know, Victoria Cord will be a completely new character for this movie. However, the last name is not made up. Ted Kord is the second Blue Beetle and probably the most well-known Blue
Hmm.
Beetle. I would not be surprised at all. And my early prediction is Ted Kord was her husband, and they ran Kord Industries together because in the comics, Ted Kord was kind of like if Tony Stark had a conscience, or like an Oliver Queen of like they have their own um I don't know, electronics industry, like
Yeah.
technology business, basically. Like they're super wealthy. I would not be surprised if either she killed him trying to claim control of the scarab, or like he had been Blue Beetle for a little bit using the scarab technology, but not the scarab itself, because that's a big distinction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blue Beetle, the new Blue Beetle, the one that this movie will be following, Jaime Reyes, has a alien, basically an alien backpack that has a brain of its own that gives him the armor. It interfaces with him. It's attached to him forever. The Ted Kord version of Blue Beetle made his own stuff. He was a scientist. He did not have something attached to him. Maybe Ted Kord was in this universe at one point, and either his sister, his wife, whatever Victoria's connection is trying to maybe get the scarab back from Jaime. Maybe she's trying to use the technology. Maybe she's running Cord. Um, I think the fact that they name dropped her name was Victoria Cord when they like officially announced this kind of starts giving us our first little breadcrumbs for this. Like you and I have already been massively hyped for this project
Oh yeah.
forever. But now that we're starting to get some speculation about the storyline, does this get you more excited, less excited? Thoughts?
I'm you know me, man. I reserve hype for the first trailer. I try not to get too excited until I kind of see what we're offering here. It is very interesting though that they're bringing in a chord of some sort in this scenario. It's interesting that because to me that says we're not going the route that Injustice did, and that just completely ignoring that any kind of Blue Beetle happened before this. But they are like acknowledging that something has come before this. I What's going to be interesting is whether or not they keep Cord Industries, how do I say this, comic book accurate in that, like you said, Tony Stark with a conscience, in that there was nothing shady going on underneath, and but maybe that's Victoria, who either wife or sister, uh, is a part of that shady stuff. So like you said, dude, there's a lot of possibilities here. I think I just. At the very least, think it's very interesting. We're acknowledging the possibility of a Blue Beetle coming before Jaime, and which means to me more of him stepping into the role of Blue Beetle and less of, hey, I could be the Blue Beetle, which is kind of like that's definitely a more interesting story of like, all right, this is who the Blue Beetle was. How do I step up to that mantle while still making it my own?
Yeah, like could they be trying to follow the footprints of like an Into the Spider-Verse? Which as soon as they announced Blue Beetle, my first thought was, oh, so you're trying to capitalize on some of the money of Into the Spider-Verse of picking an obscure comic book character that appeals to a younger demographic. Um, but I think this could be a really cool idea. I also would not be surprised if until they get stuff figured out with another property that I was almost tempted to make the whole Flash situation its own separate topic, but we don't want to get into that overly negative stuff here, as sucky as that is. Until they get that crap figured out, maybe they substitute Star Labs for Kord Industries because they kind of
Yeah.
have the same technology base. So if we could get some like Star Lab related stuff of maybe a hint to like Superboy out there somewhere or some other Young Justice adjacent storylines, because a lot of stuff can come out of like a Star Labs or a Kord Industries in terms of like science messing with stuff. The biggest ringing endorsement for this movie for me right now is the fact that they decided, you know what, we have this much faith in this movie. It's not going to HBO Max. This is going to be a theatrical release. I think that's
Yeah.
the biggest sign of confidence, and it's, to me, honestly, it's only a matter of time before that happens to Batgirl. I think once the
Yeah. No, I
Discovery
agree.
merger goes through, the Discovery merger happens, I think that'll be announced. It'll get delayed because every DC movie is getting delayed. And one in particular, it's probably for the best that it got delayed so you have time to take out your big dick actor who does not deserve to be in his role anymore after his horrendous activities.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I'm not talking about that. Uh, but also, like, because it's there and I can't not acknowledge it, what kind of car do you think Jaime Reyes drives? A Kord?
It's an electronics company, and so at some point Jaime's going to be like, "I'm going to have to cut the cord."
And then
Nope.
Shinedown starts playing.
Yeah, cut the cord.
Oh, hey, man, Planet Zero drops next month, and I could not be more excited.